So you like the Goethe? I want to hear more German literature. Should we do German Week? Let's do German Week. Though the thing about German literature is Goethe reigns supreme. More than almost any world literature, he is the top, and there's no one else even near him. So today, we'll start our German Literature Week by looking at 3 more books from Goethe. I'll start with The Sorrows of Young Werther. Not only because it's the first novel that he wrote, but also because it's the first book I ever read by him. When I was in my mid-20s and going through a breakup, this was just the book I needed. Goethe wrote this book in 5.5 weeks, and it catapulted him to international fame that is still ongoing. It is about a young man who falls for a girl and then can't have her, loses, and eventually ends up killing himself. Unfortunately, it's so strongly written that it led to a wave of suicides among young German youth. It also was one of the first important books in the Sturm und Drang movement, the Storm and Thunder movement, a proto-romantic movement that Goethe was a part of. So this was a very important book in world literature and is still well worth reading. Next is the book that I'm reading right now, William Meister's Apprenticeship. And I believe this is one of the great artist coming-of-age novels ever done. It reminds me of Willa Cather's Song of the Lark or James Joyce's Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. This book feels very autobiographical, and I think is a great glimpse into how Goethe became the great artist that he matured into. And it's a little thick. It's German and from 2 centuries ago, so the language is a little bit more overwrought than we might use today, but it feels very true and a description of what was happening for him. So I think this is a really important book for any young artist who wants some inspiration about where they're coming from and where they're going. And the last book I'll mention is a nonfiction, Goethe's Theory of Colors. This is such a fascinating book for a scientist, because Goethe always considered himself a type of scientist artist. And what's fascinating is he has his own theory on how colors work. And at this point, the wavelength theory of color was pretty well established. It was known. And he simply said that was wrong. So the science in this book is not correct at all. But it is Goethe using his own experiences to feel what colors feel like, how the humans interact with them subjectively. And it's a beautiful meditation on what deep study of a phenomena can do. And he even came up with how the different colors work together like this. It reminds me a little bit of Chagall, who later looked at the works of Japanese masters and saw how the brain is probably processing even simple lines to form a mountain and presaged some neuroscience breakthroughs. So that's why this Goethe's Theory of Colors is such a fascinating book on both artistry and the history of science.